Okay. Good evening, Coach Patel.
Good evening.
Welcome to the cricket show. West Indies versus India T20 match, pre-match question and answer, preview of what will undoubtedly be a classic. Coach, we are here on the eve of the fourth T20I between the West Indies and India. The fourth and fifth matches of this series are scheduled to be played in Lauderhill, Florida. This is scheduled for a 7:30 a.m. East Coast USA time. I think that is about 8 p.m. Mumbai Indian time. Is that the same time zone in other states of India?
No, I think there is a correction. It's a 10:30 Eastern time, so it will be 7:30 a.m. your Los Angeles time, Pacific time. And that will reflect to about 8 p.m. dinner time in India, which is, they call it the prime time for the most of the IPL games.
Okay, Coach. So lots of visitors and viewers there in India will be tuning in to catch this classic. Coach, there were visa issues that almost derailed this Florida part of the series. Can you shed any light on what may have happened in this case?
Well, there are a few things are possible, but nowadays, since after the corona, I will say world has been changed. And most likely the case will be on the immigration and customs side, where they need to stamp their visa. The administration is a little bit slow, even during and after the corona. So that might be the case. But the information I have so far, that the Guyana president jumped in and helped the teams out to get going with the visa matters. And from the previous information, they should have get their paperwork done when they were starting to do a T20 in St. Kitts. But it was a little bit delayed. And then they had a couple of options. Either they can go back to the Trinidad and get their visa. And I believe the situation was probably on Indian side that some of the players had the visa to get here, but they have a lot of new faces, and maybe some of the people may not have a visa. But end of the day, it's a good for the cricket. Looks like both teams are here already in US now, and that's a good sign that we're gonna have a game tomorrow.
Yes, that sounds promising, and we're certainly looking forward to it. The excitement is building. I anticipate that the West Indies have a fully fit squad for which to choose. I also know that there are some injury issues with the one or two players in the Indian squad. What have you got for us on the injury questions in the Indian squad?
Well, they are playing this back-to-back game. They are coming to US to play the final leg of this T20, which is the fourth and fifth game. But before that, they already finished the ODI series in West Indies, as well as 3 real good T20 matches back-to-back, I will say. So the workload is there, and the players are going through the hard work. And because of that, we already seen that last T20, Indian captain Rohit Sharma was retired hurt with the back pain or some issue, and we don't know the more details. But India is in a good shape, I will say. Even they have a couple of players are injured. They have a very strong bench. Even we're looking at the young players and inexperienced players, but they are coming from a good nurturing process, we call it, through the IPL. So they are ready for any challenge. Even you see a new face, we are expecting to compete. So it should not be an issue who is playing and who is not. But this showdown will keep continue, just like previous T20. It will be the tough fight.
Okay, we're looking forward to a top fight. Do you expect to see any changes in the West Indian 11 for this match, Coach?
I will say they are desperate to level this series now, because looking at the momentum, India overall did well, except that one spell from McCoy when he claimed those 6 wickets with the outgoing deliveries where the Indian batsman chased it and the most of the batsmen got out. And because of that, West Indies thought in the third game to bring another left-arm seamer to make the psychological pressure to Indian team, and it did not work. So now it's back to square one, and the way we know the West Indies coaching and team for last 4 or 5 years, I will not be surprised if they make 2 changes.
Okay, so you think there might be changes coming. The West Indians in this series have shown a preference for 3 or 4 pace, medium pace bowling attack. Do you see any change or changes in this bowling attack format?
It's a Florida. If you look at the history, it's not about the specialist bowler or the bowler who can bowl fast. It will be tricky. I call it you need a street smart bowler who has a variation in terms of the length and pace, both, including the bounce. So if you do it right, length, line, bounce and speed, those are the bowlers will make impact. So you don't want somebody who can consistently bowl from 130 to 150 kilometer per hour range. You need a lot of variation. If somebody has a good control to blow the slow balls in between, those will be the tricky. So I will not be surprised if they can go for a medium pace bowler or sometimes we call a extra bowler who is actually a batsman, but he can throw down a few overs, and that should be the change. So I will say batting all-rounder has more opportunities from the West Indies side.
Thank you, Coach. India, on the other hand, has had great success with their mixture of pace with a dominant spin attack. The Indians know that this is the key to dominate. Do you see any possible change in the Indian bowling attack?
Probably not. They may make one change in bowling department. Looks like this Avesh Khan is a little bit on low light right now. I will not say his performance is not as expected, but he's getting hard time. And this Florida wicket will be tricky, where you can expect the bowler with the variation will win the game. And with that sense, I think India will make one change for sure. But I will say, leaving those 2 or 3 spinner like Ramchandra Swin, then you have Huda, and then you have the Chahal. If they can continue 2, 3 good variance bowlers, then they will be up for it. India has the advantage because they have the 2 wrist right-arm leg spinners, and they can create a huge difficulties for West Indies batsmen on this ground.
I see the West Indies better come with their A game tomorrow, Coach. What can we expect from this Lauderhill pitch? Any chance that either team can consider this pitch to be more favorable to them?
Well, you got to look into the numbers. To my knowledge, I think if you look at it, the 11 international T20 so far has played, it has an average score of 155. And if you blend together the all competitive games at the ICC levels, including the Division 2, they played 24 games. And even it's a 24, it's a 157 as an average score. But the real critical part, out of that 11 T20, 9 of those games won by the team who winning toss and batting first. So that is the tricky. Now there are only major impact on positive side on India, where the West Indies cannot take it easy, even they win the toss, is there was only one game, the highest scoring game, when they played first time in 2016. I witnessed that game. I was on the ground. It was a 244 runs by both sides. And India lost on a last ball by a run. What it means, do not underestimate India. Even they batting second, they can chase the huge total.
Sounds like you've painted a picture of what is likely to be a very exciting game there, coach. Now, how was this pitch played on a historical basis, given the current setting that hosts very important minor league matches?
Well, I was coaching last year the Atlanta Paramveers, and I visited this wicket, and I was on the winning side, even against a good team from a local Fort Lauderdale. They had like 4 or 5 good first-class cricketers, and even though we did well. So the history-wise, this particular stadium was built in way back in 2007 when the West Indies hosted the World Cup. And this was the one of the venue they prepared for it to provide a World Cup games, but did not happen. After that, there are a lot of games played. And during that time, I will say the pitch was very simple. It stays hard. As you make progress in the game, it usually keeps low and slow. And it's usually cracks and dust too. But when the India visited first time USA in 2016, they revamped it, they resurfaced this pitch, and the curators worked hard. And since then, this pitch is really working well. But the one thing has not changed because of the local weather and condition and the ground matters is basically you're gonna have the nice pitch to start with it, but as the game progresses, it's gonna slow down. It will not keep low, but it will be coming slow. And that will be the tricky for any batsman to make adjustment. So I will say whichever his team is winning the toss, first power play is a very important. If you can score, let's say about 50, 60 without a loss, then you are definitely have advantage in this game.
Sounds to me like you're saying winning the toss may be the key to this match tomorrow, coach. India has swept the ODI series 3-0 and now lead 2-1 in the T20 series. Historically, a good score in T20 matches is somewhere in the middle, 200 to 300. The West Indies have struggled to score in the mid 150s. Can the West Indian batters improve on their past performance, you think?
It's going to take a lot if somebody can come out and make a day, make this lifelong memory type inning to change this fortune. But looking at the numbers, the situation and position of India team in this series, it's definitely advantage to India. With the 2-1 up, the momentum is with them. And if you look at these most recent games during this entire series in ODI and T20, I think India has easily figured out to get going and deal with the West Indies, except that second T20, because they lost like 4 or 5 wickets in under 60 against their left-arm pace. But other than that, they came back in a third T20. Even the West Indies added another left-arm seamer to put the pressure on India. It did not work. Actually, India won easily that game too. So if you look at the momentum, it's a more of a mental side. Who has a proper and better mindset in the game? I will say India has advantage on that.
So, meanwhile, what are the chances that the Indian batters will fall flat to the likes of Obed McCoy, who bagged 6 for 17 in that second T20? You think it can be a repeat?
I doubt it. It's very hard to predict, but looking at the all back records, and I know this ground very well, visited many times, so I will say it will not give a surprise. In St. Kitts, what happened is actually it was a freshly prepared surface, flat one, and then ball got 2 things, little bit quicker and more bound than you expect. And that is the reason Indian batsmen chased it to hit those ball or to play those ball, and all of them got caught outside. So that situation will not happen, because over here, the another fear factor you're gonna have is this ground is a little short. So on east and west, on the both sides, anything little short, it can go for the boundaries easily. And that will be the huge concern. What they bowl in a St. Kitts It will not be same plan you can execute and succeed here in Florida. It will be the different plan.
Coach, one of the things that I'm always concerned about when I hear high and low scores, the size of the boundaries in this setup down there in Lauderhill. Is this a standard size? Is it a smaller than normal? Is it larger than those? What are the size of the boundaries down there?
The size are standard. All the grounds they prepare based on the ICC requirements. So I will not say it's a small ground, but you have to consider the other way. You are expecting more hard hitters in T20 than any other cricket format. That's one thing. Number two, you cannot keep playing the way you play test in ODI or the way you play ODI in T20. You have to put yourself in a high gear. Means every ball coming to you, it's meant for hit. And the batsmen go for the hard hits. And because of that, we are expecting more boundaries, 4s and 6s. Yes, absolutely. To me, I will say, if you compare the grounds in Guyana, Barbados, or Antigua, Survey Richard Stadium, this one is a little bit smaller. And the track is very good. So the batsman gonna have the high scoring game. I will say it's about 230. That's my count, whoever is batting first.
All right, Coach. Well, I'll hold you to that. And the next interview we have, we will see how close you were. Tickets are sold out in Florida for this match. What does this say about the popularity of cricket as a sport here in the USA?
Well, it's picking up the good momentum. I just see that West Indies official media release this afternoon that this game has been almost sold out, and it will be. And I will not be surprised to see a full house tomorrow. Most likely the fans are coming from Indian side, just like happened in previous two series. It will be outscored. You can't bring that many West Indian, then the Indian people are gonna flood this ground tomorrow.
So your final thoughts, because I'm sure that we have tried to cover as many points as we can in this very short interview, but is there any one thing that you think that I failed to address in this interview?
No, you did all okay. Only the thing I will say that looking at the back history, normally games on Saturday is more interesting and the people come out in more numbers than the Sunday because a lot of people usually like to travel back to home. And Florida always has the weather, which is uncertain all the time. And it usually happens like one game go well, second game you may have rain and some other issues. So tomorrow's game, the first game, the fourth game is a very critical for both reasons. If India wins it, they claim the series. If West Indies wins it, it will be balanced. Means we're going to have the Sunday as an exciting game. So I will say this is the game. Both team wants to win before they think about Sunday. Yeah. And that is what it's got all excitement is.
So from your vantage point, what is the weather forecast for the area tomorrow?
Tomorrow looks good. There are not much issues with it. But I will not be surprised if they delay the game in the morning after they review the pitch condition and the morning session, because that is another concern during this tour, that these last couple of games has been delayed for 1.5 to 2 hours for some reason, and it's gonna keep continue. So I will not say it's a smooth ride, but let's wait and watch to see how the forecast is. If the sunshine is coming well by, let's say, sunrise time, then we are good to go on time. But if there is a cloudy or some other issue, they may have to delay late. But looks like we are expecting full game tomorrow for sure.
In other words, there's no rain in the forecast, but we may well be at the mercy of the sun and the clouds coming over and coming up.
That is correct. That's a Florida weather.
All right, Coach. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to help us to get inside edge on what the game will bring for us tomorrow. Hopefully, we will have an enjoyable and entertaining match. And I look forward to talking to you again, maybe after this game has ended tomorrow, and let's see how much we enjoyed the game. Once again, on behalf of the Cricket Show, I want to thank you for your time and your contributions tonight. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you to you, Cricket Show and all fans. We'll be back tomorrow after the game as a post session to talk about how the game went beyond our predictions and expectations. And then we will also include the pre-game for the final game tomorrow. So up to that, I will say goodbye and thank you all.
Thank you, Coach. Good night.
Good night.